Goo goo gaga.
To be honest, I don't even know where to start. Like, the whole situation was a bit pointless and ridiculous, because all I know is an official licensed symphony announces they're going on a world tour, and then several days later people compares Noel's room design to Hitler's art. There was so much stuff that happened recently in the Undertale Deltarune community, and I want to talk about this drama because I believe there are some topics we can talk about. It won't be just about Undertale. I believe we need to address the issue with localization of both indie and AAA games as well. That's why in this video I want to talk about a ridiculous incident that recently happened in the Undertale Deltarune community. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, that really means a lot. It all started when an account called Undertale, the Determination Symphony, announced a world tour that has performed live orchestra from Undertale's soundtrack. And they also shared a picture showing where and when this event will take place. Although it may seem like a very nice event plan at first glance, this started an outrage within the community, and specifically the Latin America community. Keep in mind that there are lots of fans of Undertale Deltarune community around the world, and unfortunately, not everyone in the world can afford official merches and events in the same way compared to the Western countries. And what happens when people from third world countries feel ignored? It's simple. They raise their voices against the developers they feel don't care about them. And honestly, can I blame them? Not really. Because they want a symphony in their own country and it's their most basic right to ask for this. And that was the reason why people suddenly started to talk about how Toby missed the Latam countries, and we'll talk about Toby's role in that later. So in conclusion, a community tried to raise their voice against Toby so he can maybe resolve this issue, right? Well, no. In fact, what I am about to tell you actually caused the situation to escalate even further. 3 days after the announcement, Toby Fox announced on Twitter that a game called Off now has a Japanese translation. Why am I saying this? Because as you probably know, Toby generally enjoys Japanese content and is improving his language skill. And there's nothing wrong with that actually. The problem was timing. The community thought he actively ignored his own fanbase and situation about the world tour, so people started mocking him with memes and insults in the replies. To be honest, I thought Toby would ignore these replies as well because, you know, he usually posts something whatever or whenever he wants. He doesn't really depend on his own fanbase like Gooseworks. I still had not forgotten why people made her leave Reddit, by the way, and probably will continue to work on this new chapter. Turns out, I was wrong. He actually posted an announcement addressing the situation. After receiving backlash from his tweet, he sent a message to his fans from Latin America the next day on Blue Sky and addressed several topics about the situation. I wonder why he didn't post it on Twitter though. To summarize this up briefly, he talked about symphony, fangamer shipping, and localization. Let's take a look at them one by one. At first, Toby says that unfortunately the official licensed Undertale Symphony has no shows planned in Latin America. However, he hardly has any involvement with the symphony and the organizers have heard the enthusiasm from there. And he personally believes it will be good to have performances in Latin America as well. Second, Toby is pretty aware that fangamers' shipping costs to Latin America are prohibitively expensive, totally relatable by the way, and asked a fangamer if they could find a solution to this issue because it's not just a problem in Latin America, it's also a problem in other third world countries as well, including my country. And unfortunately there is not a proper solution to that since most countries have tariffs over the most of shipments, which pretty much sucks. Yet Toby says that fangamer is interested in finding a solution. And finally, Toby says that Undertale has no other translation besides Japanese, and continued that he prefers this because when he does something official, he wants to match his own vision. And the game has Japanese support because, you know, he knows Japanese himself, so he wants to add something by himself again. This part is pretty important. He's very happy that there are unofficial translations on PC, he's just okay with fans engaging with the localization without the burden of being officially perfect. Then he apologizes for his silence, which made people think like he was ignoring the situation. I'm gonna be honest, the last sentence was very humble of him, and I'm glad that he addressed the situation as well. So yeah, that's the whole situation. However, I believe there are a few more topics we can talk about, so here's... If you already heard my channel before, I made a video about third world countries' gaming experience, and I believe this situation kinda resembles what I talked about months ago. Why am I saying this? Because people usually see indie developers and AAA developers in the same picture. Like, if a game comes out and manages to be successful, people believe the game they love should have a representation of their language as well. But here's the thing, the localization process is hard, especially if that game has tons of dialogues and localized jokes. I believe this is why Toby sees this as a burden, because he's not working along with Japanese localization, and that's why it takes months to move on from that. Even this Turkish localization you are watching right now took months to translate everything in order, from sprites, jokes, even the Tena intro itself. These things really take actual time. I'm saying this because some people on Twitter really compared Toby to fucking Mojang. This game does not even have dialogues, and sometimes not even Mojang itself translates the game too. Just look at these two incidents on the screen. And personally, I understand why Toby prefers to not do that by himself. After all, it's his own game and he can do whatever he wants, because he just sees this as a waste of time and is okay with people doing the localization part unofficially instead. And it's not just localization, some people even compared Noel's room design to Hitler's art and made him act like some racial stereotypes. Guys, hello? Does all of this even make sense? I know I shouldn't really care about some Twitter users' opinions as a whole, but this situation felt like a nothing burger. Like, I haven't seen Russian Deltarune fans complaining about localization, or any other fans from third world countries, because these people in countries are already used to do piracy in general, so they know they wouldn't get an official language support and do the translation themselves instead. Long story short, please do not harass Toby over this anymore. I think this part of his response has already convinced me to make my own translation, so I believe there is no point talking about this anymore. But if you have a different opinion, feel free to leave a comment on this video and people can discuss if they want. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. Until the next video, goodbye and have a good day.